Welcome, 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 friend. I'm TK, your tour guide to the past, and you are listening to For the Love of History, the podcast where we talk about world history, women's history, and weird history. And today we have another special guest, a member of the history family. I don't know if you remember. You probably remember. Of course you do. The interview with Dr. Uncle Brian. This is E.J Barnes, his partner. She is a Massachusetts-based artist and a member of the Boston Comics Roundtable. She's an independent scholar and, like I said, a member of the history family. So we're so excited to have you on, EJ. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Taya. It's great to be on.
I'm so happy that you're here. When Uncle Brian was like, hey, I think EJ would want to come on, I was like, yes, EJ, please come on. So today we are going to be talking about a topic that I have no idea about. I just know the cliff notes, but that's always what we do. I love to have authentic reactions to the things that we're learning together. So EJ, could you tell us about your history background first? What got you interested in history and art, if you'd like to add that in too?
I've always been interested in history, but it was something I did in my academic career. It was something I did to take a break from science because I was a chemistry major.
Oh my gosh.
And after undergraduate, I went into software. So I'm a recovering software engineer, just like Brian is. And but I've always drawn. So I've always wanted to do art. I've always wanted to do cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
I have a short animated film, which has been in about 18 film festivals. And as you mentioned, I'm a part of the Boston Comics Roundtable. I have self-published my comics since 2005.
Wow.
And so it's almost 20 years now since I started, and the first one officially, although I did like little tiny black and white minis before this, my first full-size comic was Birds of the Baltic, which was basically what I did on my summer vacation in 2003 with Brian.
I love it. The love of birds really runs deep in this family. Just as a little side note, my mom, who is the one that Uncle Brian and EJ are related to, she loves birds, and there has been many a time when we woke up at 4:00 in the morning to go birding. And
I am not that kind of birder.
Okay, thank goodness. I'm
getting up before 6 is not my bag.
Yeah, no. Okay, thank goodness. Anyways, we digress.
Yeah. So actually, one of the things I wanted to do was write a novel, and I first heard of Count Cagliostro, who we'll be talking about more later. Mm-hmm. I first heard of him through a book that I read called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds.
Okay, so you read this book and you found this man.
Yes, and he was in a section about alchemists. And you may recall that I majored in chemistry. He had a whole section on alchemists, and here was this person who was proclaiming himself to be an alchemist in the 1770s, 80s, when scientific chemistry as we know it today was really getting going. It's like, why would somebody claim to be doing alchemy, which, popularly known as simply the quest to change base metals to gold? And it's a lot more complicated than that, but that was my understanding up to that point. So why would somebody do that, at the time when we had Rumford and Lavoisier and all those guys? Why would somebody go around claiming to be able to change lead into gold?
Yeah. It seems like the wrong time to do that when there's actual people that can be like, hey, you're wrong.
Right. Although they didn't know until like the 20th century why it was wrong. Because until we knew more about atomic structure, we didn't know how hard it was to change one element into another. It's like, do I really need like an atom smasher or something to do this? Well,
Yeah.
let's just say it's not cost effective.
Got it. Okay. The amount of gold that you get in the end is not worth the amount that you use to get the gold, kind of a
Right.
thing.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So we're here in the time of like more scientific understanding. We've got this guy, oh my God, I cannot.
Cagliostro.
Cagliostro. We have this Cagliostro fella. And then we also have another character in this story. Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Yes. Elisa von der Recke
Mm-hmm.
was a Baltic German noblewoman who studied magic with Cagliostro in 1779. And she was a part of a noble family. When I say Baltic German, what we know today as Latvia and Estonia
Mm-hmm.
were ruled by a German-speaking ruling class and had been since there had been crusades in the around 1200.
That is a long time.
Well, yeah. So when I talk about Baltic Germans, we're talking about this upper crust of Baltic society.
Okay.
And they were actually one of the last places in Europe to get rid of serfdom. There were still serfs until like 1806 or something.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yes, it was wild, and it does inform my story, and it does inform sort of the status that Elisa, the society that Elisa was operating in.
Yeah. Okay.
So Elisa von der Recke was born to the von Medem family. I mean, all these von this and von that, and
so many vons.
Yes, were basically descended from members of the Teutonic Knights and the Livonian Order who had taken over back in the 1200s. And she actually had a rough early life.
Mm-hmm.
Most of her early life was pretty bumpy. Mm-hmm. She had a younger brother, and then soon after her younger brother was born, her mother died. And so she got shipped off to live with her maternal grandmother while her father remarried and had 3 more kids.
Oof.
Yeah. Because that's what you do. Because if, you want the heir, the spare, and one for the army and one for the church,
Yeah.
So this is the kind of society Elisa was in, and her grandmother was abusive.
Well,
and she was abusive to everybody. She wouldn't let Elisa go outside because it would ruin her complexion.
What?
To be exposed too much to the sun.
Oh my gosh.
And so when she was a teenager, she finally moved back to her father's second wife died after having her third child.
Oh God.
So it's it was
not a good time to be a lady and having babies. Oh geez.
Yeah, very risky.
Yeah.
And so her father married a third time an older woman who for a change was supportive of Elisa's getting an education and reading, and she encouraged her intellectual pursuits, which was the first time she had that kind of support.
Oh, good.
And then she gets married at age 17 because it's the sort of thing you're supposed to do, because it's one of those vicious circles. Because women die in childbirth so easily, you're supposed to get into production as early as possible. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So she got married to actually a nephew of her stepmother's.
Okay.
And the nephew, who was much older than she was, he was over 30 at the time they got married. He was sort of the opposite of her stepmother in that he had no intellectual interests. He loved hunting and gaming and screwing his serfs. And
nice.
yeah,
Love that.
yeah,
Great.
no. And he was abusive to her. It's just one damn thing after another.
Right? Poor Elisa can't catch a freaking break.
Right. But she goes off to this obscure castle. They got into a number of big fights. They had one child who died at age 2. That's another thing about, in addition to maternal mortality, there's infant mortality. And he was actually he beat her. He threw her cat out the window where his hunting dogs killed it.
Stop. What?
No. Yeah.
That's horrible. As a certified cat lover,
yes.
I could not imagine. I hate this man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there was one time when her grandmother, her abusive maternal grandmother, came to visit, took away all her books because you really should be like busy making babies and not, spending your time reading books.
Reading books? Oh my gosh. Oh, Elisa.
And well, he got her some new books, but he never let her forget about it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure he held that over her head forever.
Yeah. Anyway, so like at one point she wrote him a note saying, "This is what we need to do to make our relationship work better." And he hit the roof. "How dare you? You've got a lot of nerve telling me
how you want us to make this relationship work. How dare you?" Oh my gosh.
And he threw her out.
Oh my gosh.
So she wound up, divorce was possible. It wasn't that common, but she was in the process of getting a divorce from him. But she moved back to Midtown, and she had to live in basically a boarding house for impoverished noble women.
Oh my, there's a whole boarding house for impoverished noble women?
Yes, there was.
What the heck? Okay. That's wild. Well, that husband officially gets the For the Love of History garbage human stamp. He is officially on the list.
He's definitely a garbage human. So anyway, I don't know if she had started before she moved back to Midtown, but more and more of her reading got involved with esoteric subjects and mysticism and religion. And she was seeking comfort wherever she could find it. And meanwhile, her younger brother had gone off to college. Well, they had been writing each other letters, the whole time she was married. And so like when he was still a teenager, he would write to her, and they would just tell each other all their problems.
Oh.
And it's like she was so close. It's like she was closer to her brother than she was to anybody else.
Aww.
And he went off to college in Strasbourg, and he died while he was at college.
No, how did he die?
Well, supposedly he had a fever.
Oh, and that could be literally any number of things.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah. And the thing is, she couldn't forgive herself for the last letter she wrote to him, because he had told, basically he was out partying with his classmates. And it's like having fun for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
And she upbraided him for being frivolous and dissolute, drinking and whoring, and that's kind of,
no.
And it's like, and next thing she knows, he's dead. It's like oh my God, did I push him over the edge? Did he kill himself? So it's like she was a wreck.
I'm
No,
sure.
yeah, no, she was she had been a Funda Recke, but she was a wreck.
Officially.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's awful. I can't even imagine. I cannot even imagine. I need to call my brother after this
and,
episode.
right, and all this by the age of 24.
Okay. So
So
she's
she'd gotten married at 17. She had a baby. I guess she had it when she was 20, and the baby died when it was 2.
oh
And
my God.
yeah, and so it's like,
Elisa is having a hard time and at such a young age. So many things happening before she's even 25. Oh,
yeah,
geez, poor thing.
yeah, and she had started a correspondence
Mhm.
with. Now she had gotten interested in reading Swedenborg. She read more and more in mystical subjects, and she read the religious poetry of Johann Caspar Lavater, who later became famous for his quote unquote science of physiognomy. Yes, yes.
Physiognomy. What
Phy-
exactly is physiognomy?
physiognomy
Okay.
physiognomy is the, well, you might say it's the art of judging a person's personality by his facial features, not his facial expressions, but their facial features. So like if they have a certain shape of forehead or
What?
nose or chin, that will can tell you whether they are trustworthy or,
So
also,
weird.
yeah,
It's like a more surface level phrenology, like
exactly.
so weird.
Instead of just reading the bumps on your head, it's like you could look at this guy across the room and
Be like, that guy's not trustworthy based on the curvature of his ears. Like,
right.
so funny. Okay. So she started reading this science, air quote, book.
Actually, she didn't.
Oh, she didn't.
He no he didn't get into that until after they had started to correspond. Okay,
Okay.
so like she read his religious poetry,
Mhm.
and she wrote to him, and he wrote back, and they
Okay.
started like trading letters where like, and she started writing poetry and sending him poetry and seeing what he thought of it. And
Got it.
right,
A
so
little
like,
pen pal situation.
yeah. And she also, well, because she was in such a state, she started like wandering in graveyards because, like, she was hoping for a message from her late brother.
Poor thing. Oh gosh. Okay.
So when she heard that her father had met this Count Alessandro di Cagliostro,
Okay.
well, she didn't think a whole lot of it because, like, she had, he had met him through his Masonic lodge, and I'll get back to what kind of Masonic lodge in a minute. He met him at his Masonic lodge and came home to say, "Oh, he's a great alchemist." It's like, so yeah, Dad, we know you're interested in alchemy, you know. Oh, and he can talk to spirits. Oh, I am so there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. I mean, she's if you've ever gone through a spell of depression, you know that there's a sort of fog you swim through, that everything
Mhm.
is sort of like a little dimmer and grayer than it should be. And even if you're like doing everything you're supposed to do, you're just sort
Mhm.
of like going through the motions. But when you get a glimmer of hope, everything changes.
Yeah, it's so true.
And so we finally get to Cagliostro, who was, most people now believe he was a small-time Sicilian swindler, a Catholic seminarian who had been kicked out of his seminary and became a small-time swindler named Giuseppe Balsamo.
Oh.
And but if you were an educated commoner
Mm-hmm.
and trying to make your way in a world where, like, the nobles hold the purse strings. They're the ones that hold the doors to anything that can
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like finding a patron for what you want to do is very important.
Yeah.
And also, it was much harder to figure out whether somebody was an imposter or not than it is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, I mean, then you couldn't hit a rock. You couldn't throw a rock in 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 Italy without hitting somebody who was calling himself a count. I mean, there's the the Comte de Saint-Germain is an example of somebody who took a French name, but it's not even clear where he came from. But he, Cagliostro's title of count was almost certainly self-conferred, which is not the sort of thing you're supposed to do, but
Yeah.
Cagliostro was claiming to be an alchemist, a magician, and a Freemason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Freemasonry in the 18th century was a little bit like the human potential movement in the 1980s.
Okay.
Where basically they had so many different kinds of Masonic lodges.
Okay.
Many of them, some of them claimed to have the secrets of the Knights Templar.
Nice.
And Elisa's father and uncle belonged to one such lodge.
Okay. So they're a little bit on the woo-hoo-y side kind of a thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Much like celebrities nowadays kind of connected with what's that religion that Tom Cruise is in?
Oh, Scientology.
Scientology. It seems like
right. Or the kind of Kabbalah. Now Kabbalah is very, very old, but there's like a California school of Kabbalah that is pretty woo-woo.
Got it. Okay.
And I know Madonna was into that for a while.
Yeah.
So while Freemasonry started as it was a tradesman's guild, for people who actually built with stone.
Okay.
But starting in the 1600s, there were people from other walks of life who started joining, and they had these rituals, and still have rituals, using builders' tools as symbols. And various different schools of Freemasonry that were started by people in the upper classes or people, educated commoners who wanted to use it to explore spiritual topics, because the whole tradition of using Masonic symbolism was to cultivate being a better person. So, for example, there's the symbol of the rough ashlar and the smooth ashlar, meaning different kinds of stone. So like a stone that's just rough hewn and a stone that's been squared off and smoothed off, this sort of before and after.
Got it.
You go through these rituals and you associate with your lodge brothers, and it will build your character.
Got it. So you're going through this to become a smooth, polished rock, basically.
Right. Yes.
Love it. Okay.
Right. Now, most lodges of Freemasonry then and now are all men. Now, there are a few exceptions. There are lodges in France and associated with lodges in France that admit both men and women in the same lodge. However, the mainstream Freemasonry in the United States is all descended from the Grand Lodge of England, which only permits men to join.
Men. Okay,
yes.
Got it.
But when Cagliostro was in England before arriving in Courland, that's when he became a Mason.
Okay.
Now, having grown up Catholic and actually having been a seminarian, he grew up in a country where Masonry was banned.
Okay.
So he didn't actually get into Freemasonry until he got to England, and he sort of realized, this is what I want to do. I want to start my own lodge.
Uh-huh.
And supposedly he tells the story of how he found a book about it at a bookseller in London.
Okay.
But this is how he discovered Egyptian Freemasonry.
Okay. What exactly is that?
Funny you should ask, because what makes it Egyptian? Nothing that I can figure out. Except we go back to how different schools of occultism and mysticism today operate, where either it's something I just discovered, it's a great new development, or it is thousands of years old.
Okay.
So like the older it is, the better.
Got it. The more mysterious it is, the more, if it's really, really old, then it must be super good stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this was before the Rosetta Stone was unearthed. And so basically people speaking and reading European languages, didn't know what the hieroglyphs said.
Yeah.
Until the Rosetta Stone was unearthed. So everything they knew about ancient Egypt came via writers in classical Greece.
Yeah.
And so like there was a whole lot that was missing. There was a whole lot that was distorted. Oh, and let's go back to the alchemist angle. One of the most ancient alchemists of all, supposedly, was somebody named Hermes Trismegistus.
What? Okay. What? Hermes?
Hermes.
Oh, Hermes.
Hermes, like Mercury.
Yeah. Hermes
Trismegistus. Trismegistus.
Okay.
And
Great name.
And he was supposedly an ancient Egyptian who had the secrets of alchemy.
Fun.
So like if you could, the thing about alchemical knowledge,
air quotes.
Well, a lot of it went back to the sort of Aristotelian philosophy of the four elements, with fire versus water, air versus earth.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of approach that a lot of that early material took. Now, to give credit to late medieval and early Renaissance alchemists, they were actually, they were doing experiments in their labs and laboratories, and going through the procedures that were described in various books. And they would actually, some of them actually discovered elements like phosphorus and antimony, but they didn't know what they had really.
Yeah.
But that's sort of a digression. But I'm giving alchemists credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
So anyway, Egyptian Freemasonry. No connection whatsoever to the Egyptians, so we can just toss that out the window. But here's the thing.
Okay.
There's like the mainstream Masonry, including the Grand Lodge of England, that the mother lodges in the United States are descended from. Some of their rituals say that the traditions of Masonry go back to Solomon's temple.
Okay.
In the Bible.
Biblical here. Okay.
Absolutely. So what Cagliostro was doing was going the one better. Oh, like Solomon's temple, that's only 1,000 years BC.
Yeah.
If you want to go 3,000 years BC to the pyramids.
Okay, so the very like loose connection of the Egyptian Freemasons, they're like, our foundation is from ancient Egypt. Like, get your biblical stuff out of here. We're going before the Bible type of a thing. I see.
Right.
Got it.
Right. So like, but the older it is, the better it is.
The older it is, the better it is.
So this is how this was. Cagliostro was going across Europe, trying to get people to join his Egyptian Freemasonry.
Yeah.
He and his wife led the women's lodge.
Okay.
His wife Serafina. A warm reception at some of these German lodges of the kind that Elisa's father and uncle belonged to.
Mm-hmm.
The Order of Strict Observance. This is the one that claimed to have the secrets of the Knights Templar.
Okay.
And the founder of it claimed to have contact with a mysterious secret master.
Fun. All right.
Yes. Like, it took them years to figure out he'd made it all up. Either made it all up or he was like deluded.
There's no secret master. Wow.
There's no secret master. No, I mean, he dropped hints that it was one of the Stuart pretenders for the throne of England.
Oh, okay. We're just putting all the histories together.
Right. No, and then one of the members of the lodge runs into him in France and said, "Tell us more. Who are you?" It's like, well, we were sent by Von Hund. Who's Von Hund? Who's the person who started the Lodge of Strict Observance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
So we've got, this guy and his wife who have created the Egyptian Freemasons. And then what is happening to our dear friend Elisa right now? What's going on with her? How did the two get connected?
Well, she hears that Cagliostro is able to communicate with the spirits.
Okay.
Maybe he can get in touch with my brother.
Yep. Got it. Okay.
So anyway, all of Elisa's extended family, basically, well, except for the abusive grandmother, her father, her uncle, her stepmother, everybody who's old enough in her family, all the fun madams join Cagliostro's lodge of Egyptian Freemasonry.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were going to say the opposite. Like, everybody was like, Elisa, don't join this group. But no, they all joined. Okay.
They all joined, men and women alike.
Cool.
And then, and Elisa learns that in order to, well, the thing is that, like most Masonic lodges, there were multiple ranks, degrees that you would take. And the degree you would have to get to in order to learn how to speak to the spirits is the next rank up.
This is so Scientology-like. This is giving me such Scientology vibes. Okay, so you have your entry level where you can't speak to the spirits, and then you go to the next level. So clearly we know where this is going. She's going to go to the next level.
Well, she wants to go to the next level.
Okay.
And he and his wife Serafina teach the family various esoteric business, like the four elements and when I talked about alchemical tradition deals with 7 traditional metals, which map exactly to the 7 ancient planets: the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, not Earth, because Earth doesn't count, because in the old system it didn't move.
Okay.
Mars,
that's right. Yep. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Yes, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pluto wasn't a thing yet.
Neptune wasn't a thing yet.
Oh gosh. Okay. Great.
Uranus wasn't a thing yet. So, let alone, so basically, the sun was gold and the moon was silver and Mercury was mercury
Yeah.
and Venus was copper and Mars was iron and Jupiter was tin and Saturn was lead.
Lead. Okay. Okay.
So all these correspondences, these traditional correspondences, and their traditional angels and archangels, and Cagliostro also led seances,
Of course.
for which he needed a child medium.
Ew.
The child medium, who happened to be Elisa's little cousin Peter, who was 5 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Hate
Oh.
that.
Well, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
The child needs to be of perfect innocence and also easily manipulated.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
You could tell a 5-year-olds believe about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. Of course, they're going to be into a seance.
Right. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got these seances. We have a child medium. What's
Right.
happening next?
Then Cagliostro says, I had a vision in which there is a treasure trove on your uncle's property.
Okay, cool.
So the entire family just, decamps out to the countryside to Uncle Christoph's manor house in Wiltzen.
Okay.
Because all these nobles had 2 or 3 country houses,
Mm-hmm.
which is where all their food got grown and stuff.
Yeah.
Grown by other people.
By their serfs.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they go out there.
Right, and they have some more seances, and Cagliostro tells them that one of the schoolmasters is out to get the treasure. One of the schoolmasters back in Mittau is out to get the treasure.
Okay.
Because he was, Johann Stark,
Mm-hmm.
taught at the academy in Mittau. He was in the Order of Strict Observance. He had tried his angle on the Order of Strict Observance by saying he had the secrets of the Knights Templars priests.
Are all these men just making shit up all over the place?
And finding people to believe it.
Right? Oh my gosh, what a time to be alive. I would love to start a Freemason thing and we'll just worship cats. That's what we'll do.
The Temple of Bastet.
Oh yeah, yes, exactly. There's already an Egyptian god for that. We could be the satellite extension of the Egyptian Freemason.
So yeah, and Cagliostro does and his wife do a horoscope that says, "Oh, we can't dig yet."
Okay.
But he has Peter the child medium, get a vision of where they need to dig, but they can't dig yet, and all sorts of nonsense.
Oh my gosh. My anxiety could never, because I would just be thinking they're going to find nothing. They're going to find nothing. And then I'm going to be a fraud.
Well, as long as you can kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
Right. And so Elisa begs to be passed to the next rank so she can learn how to contact the spirits.
Yeah.
Cagliostro says, I can sense that you're doing this for personal reasons.
Okay.
Right. Because basically, when people are anxious, they'll often have tells that make it easy for somebody to do a cold reading on them.
Yeah.
So it's I can tell that the reason you came into my palmist's shop is you have a man on your mind.
Yeah, yeah, right.
9 out of 10 times. Yeah.
Yeah. So he knew that she wanted, by his air quotes psychic abilities, he was able to
Yes.
tell she wanted to do this for personal reasons. And so he said,
This
no.
is very dangerous. You mustn't. Yes. You mustn't do this. Instead, we will have a seance and contact your brother.
Okay.
Well,
I'll do it for you, kind of a
right.
thing.
I'll do it for you. And actually, before he tries to get her to have a magical dream, and she can't sleep because, of course not.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to have a magical dream. I'm going to have no, I can't get to sleep.
Exactly right. The moment you're like, I need to sleep, is the moment that you cannot get to sleep.
Right. So, yeah, in fact, and I per her in my graphic novel,
Mhm.
as she goes through a few consecutive nights of this. And of course, after a few nights of getting like no sleep,
Mhm.
you're a wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the third night, she thinks she sees her brother in the room.
Of course she does. She hasn't slept for 3 days.
Exactly. I had a roommate who in when she was in college pulled a few consecutive all-nighters and
Uh-huh.
wound up like seeing black cats in her room
Oh my gosh. Well,
because like, the slightest motion is like, oh, yeah,
yeah, exactly. They
right.
lack of sleep is torture. It's against the Geneva Conventions.
Exactly. So anyway, at this point, Cagliostro says, we will talk to the spirits. And so he has her little cousin Peter, the
Mhm.
child medium, convey a message from. Now, instead of a crystal ball, he had a bowl of water, but it's like you have like stare at a bowl of water with at the light by the light of one candle long
Mhm.
enough.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna start to see things.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. So that was basically his modus operandi for that.
Mm.
So like he got a message from the brother. Oh, he's in heaven. He is
Great.
happy. Everything's wonderful. And it's like such a relief for her.
Oh, it's so sad. It's because it's great that she feels relief, but it's also terrible because this guy is just like
He's manipulating her.
manipulating her like hardcore. That's so sad. Okay, so she gets the message, brother is in heaven. We're happy, we're great. Then what happens?
And you can resume your studies in magic and go to the next rank, the next degree of
So
Egyptian
convenient.
Freemasonry.
So
And
convenient.
you're not like the others. I can tell you have special abilities and you have the potential to rise beyond any of them into a more secret society.
He
A prophet of Elijah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. So I don't know if you've heard of this, EJ, but there's this thing now in popular culture. You're not like other girls, where men are like, "Oh, you're not like girls. You're different." And you're not like other girls to her, but back in the day, you're not like other girls. You could be a super secret high level whatever sorceress, I don't know.
right. And do this for the regeneration of all humankind.
Oh my god.
So it's like all of a sudden she's going from I just solved one of my problems
Uh-huh.
to I could help humanity.
Humanity, right? I could be the savior of all mankind. Cool, great.
But the thing is, Cagliostro had a bad temper,
Oh.
and so he often scared her. And he also said, "As I rise higher among the the prophets of Elijah, I may be attacked by demons.
Sure. Great.
And she thought, oh my God, is he being attacked by demons? when he starts blowing up at his
So
his servant.
convenient. That's a very convenient like scapegoat. It's just the demons. It's not me. It's the demons.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Classic narcissistic gaslighting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
So, but here's the thing. Mitau was a backwater.
Yeah.
He knew it. His real aim was to try to get Catherine the Great to join Egyptian Freemasonry.
What?
So basically, since there were people in Mitau who knew Catherine the Great, including Elisa's father had been on a diplomatic mission for her.
For Catherine the Great?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So this isn't just like he randomly pulled a monarch out of his hat. You know what? I'd love for her to join. We've got like some connection. Okay. Got it.
Well, if he's aiming for the big, the big cheese.
Yeah.
You cultivate whoever you think is going to help you.
Yes. Yes. Smart man.
Yeah. And so basically he starts saying to Elisa, I'm going to St. Petersburg and I hope that you'll be able to join me. And it's like, do I really want to join this guy? It's like, I so want to rise up in the Egyptian Freemasonry, but he's scaring the shit out of me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if I can handle any more of these demon possessions. Good Lord.
Right. And in the meantime, the family had gone back to Mitau, and she runs into a friend of the family who was like a lodge brother of her, father and uncle, who was trying to get her to read more material relating to the Enlightenment.
Yeah, because we're right around Enlightenment period. Okay, got it.
And so, she winds up spending more time talking to him and reading the things that he lends her. And so, like, she still, wants to believe in Cagliostro, but it's like she has an independent sounding board because she doesn't dare tell her family that he's freaking her out because, like, they're still following him.
Yeah, they're deep in the Egyptian Freemasonry.
Right. And she turns to Schwander when she needs somebody to talk to about her doubts about Cagliostro.
Yeah. This seems very like cult deconstruction.
Yeah.
She's got that person that she can talk to who is not a member of, I'm gonna use the word cult. It seems very culty, this Egyptian Freemasonry. So
yes,
she's like religious deconstructioning right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Glad for him.
Yeah. And in the meantime, the family, the whole family goes over to visit the abusive grandmother and brings Cagliostro along. And grandmother Korf calls him a charlatan to his face. I'm not afraid of you, little man. It's like, he says, I will not have you, say such things about Egyptian Freemasonry. And it's like,
she's like,
a year from today, the exalted lady will have her breakfast and keel over dead.
Oh my gosh, he predicted her death?
Yes, he predicted her death, but
did she actually die?
No, she lived another 5-6 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, a very, very tiny brownie point for abusive grandma for sticking up to this guy. Or sticking up. What?
well, but here
standing up
to this guy, but at the same time, Elisa did something that sort of surprised herself and everybody else.
Okay.
She stood up to Cagliostro and said, Don't say this to my grandmother. She raised me.
Oh, even though she was an abusive, horrible individual, don't say these things. Good for Elisa. I mean, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
holy
And it's
cow.
like this is like, I see this as a critical point in her being willing to stand up for herself.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in a world that was just like punching down at her all the time. Holy cow.
Yeah, with her childhood, her marriage, it's like all her life she'd been told by other people what to do, and she's, even though Cagliostro, she had become emotionally dependent on Cagliostro, and there were times when he would provoke her, he would say something that she would find outrageous, and she'd say something, and he'd say, very good, young lady, you passed the test.
Oh my God, what a little gaslighter!
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What a horrible individual. I think he has earned himself another mark, a stamp in the garbage human book.
Eventually, she realizes that he may have lied to her about hearing from her brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he kept saying things that troubled her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, maybe he lied about that.
If he lied about this, then maybe he lied about this. And like,
Yeah.
he starts to pull the thread and things start to unravel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
And he leaves, for St. Petersburg.
And she doesn't follow?
She does not follow him.
Thank goodness. Okay.
Because she had been so scared by him that she didn't want to travel with him.
Yeah, alone.
Even with his wife there,
Yeah, no, thank you.
No. Anyway, so like he goes to St. Petersburg, and Catherine the Great doesn't even want to meet with him.
Catherine the Great is a smart lady.
Well, the thing is, like, for a while she was interested in Freemasonry, but she isn't anymore. So it's like, oh, one of those guys again,
Get out.
Get out. And he swings back through Mitau on his way back into Western Europe, but nobody's home when he comes by. Because like by the time he comes back, the rest of the family isn't so hot about him anymore.
Yeah. The illusion has kind of fallen a little bit, and everybody's like, oh.
Right. With him gone, a lot of the reinforcement they were getting wasn't there anymore.
Yeah. That's how cults work.
Yeah. And so he moves on, to Western Europe. And by the time he gets to Western Europe, he gets to France, to Strasbourg in France and Lyon. His shtick is less the Egyptian Freemasonry and the magical stuff. He's a healer now.
Okay. Got it.
And he becomes very popular with the common people because he cures them for free. He feeds them.
What? Okay. What a weird turn. So he heals them, air quotes. He feeds them. What is he getting out of it?
Buzz.
Oh, okay.
Right, because the thing is that with the state of medicine being what it was, there were a lot of conditions that were not well understood at the time. And so, even if it wasn't something that was psychosomatic, that, getting the right nourishment can often make a big difference.
Right.
And so like the nobles of France start coming to him with their problems, and he gets invited to the salons of Paris. And so like he's a brilliant conversationalist, and he drops hints that he's much older than he looks, like hundreds if not thousands of years.
Stop. Okay, all right. Fun.
And he winds up winning the patronage of the Cardinal of Strasbourg.
Oh.
The Cardinal of Strasbourg was hated by Marie Antoinette for reasons I will not get into. But he wanted to curry her favor. And so a woman who claimed to have much better a noble lineage than she actually did said, "Oh, I have the queen's ear. I know she's been coveting this diamond necklace that was made for Madame du Barry. Actually, she didn't covet the necklace. She had rejected it. It was expensive, it was ugly, and she didn't want anything to do with Madame du Barry anyway. So this minor Countess de la Motte convinced the cardinal that he could curry favor with the queen by buying her this necklace.
Okay. Are you perchance hinting at the affair of the necklace?
That is the affair of the necklace.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes. And I will take the necklace to the queen, of course.
Okay.
And it's never seen again.
Oh my gosh. So how is our friend Cagliostro involved?
Cagliostro is not involved in the plot, except that he's a friend of the cardinal's. And so when the cardinal gets arrested and de la Motte gets arrested, Countess de la Motte says, "That's the guy. He's the mastermind of this whole plot."
Oh my gosh.
And so here's this con man who got swept up in somebody else's con.
Oh my gosh. He got by somebody else's con.
Yeah. So basically, he's stuck in the Bastille along with the cardinal and Countess de la Motte.
Oh no.
And his wife Seraphina's in the Bastille too. So
no.
Yeah. And so the thing is that in France at the time, you didn't get a jury trial.
Ooh.
But you could win sort of popular sympathy by publishing your statement.
Okay.
And all of the principals in the case published their statements. And Cagliostro published his statement, starting with an absurd account of his early youth, living in Alexandria and learning the secrets of alchemy from...
Wait, hold on. Wait. Like 1,000 years ago type of a...
No, more like, not that long ago. But he did claim to be descended from the last prince of Trebizond.
Okay.
And it's like when I first read this, I didn't know where Trebizond was.
Yeah, where is that?
It's a city on the Black Sea in what is now northern Turkey, but it was like one of the last vestiges of the Byzantine Empire to fall to the Turks.
Okay. So he's basically telling everybody, I'm not actually in my 50s or whatever. I'm just a few hundred years old, like a casual few hundred years old.
Well, he leaves it a lot, sort of unspecified, but it's like, but anyway, he wanted to say that he's noble. He comes from the exotic East.
Yeah.
This is Orientalism before Orientalism. Anyway, so he gets to his relationship to the cardinal and how he warned the cardinal that this woman de la Motte was no good.
Got it.
Well, of course, de la Motte said in her statement that she'd warned him against associating with Cagliostro.
So they were fighting against one another. Okay, for who was the guilty party. Got it.
Right. And Cagliostro says he has in his statement, he has a list of notable people across Europe who can vouch for my good character.
Okay.
Count this and Duke that, and the Duke and Duchess of Courland. Yes. Well, no, because Elisa's younger stepsister had married the Duke of Courland. So the Duke and Duchess of Courland were her sister and brother-in-law. and they knew and hated Cagliostro. So Even if he had asked them for a reference, they wouldn't have given it.
Wouldn't it to him anyways?
So Elisa goes into a towering rage when she reads this.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
It is time to write my account of the notorious Cagliostro.
Oh my gosh. So she kind of gets her revenge. Okay.
She gets her revenge, and basically she writes about when Cagliostro was in town and how he manipulated her and probably manipulated her little cousin.
Yeah. The
give
entire family.
Yeah.
And what was the public response to her letter?
She became a star.
Yay, Elisa!
Oh, well, among other things, Catherine the Great noticed her,
Yay!
Gave her an estate, because by this time her divorce was finally settled, and but she was still sort of like doing the noble equivalent of couch surfing. But so gave her an estate. She started associating with other literati in the German-speaking world. She met Goethe. She met all sorts. She wound up dying in Dresden, but it's like she died in 1830 something. She was like over 70 when she died.
Awesome.
She never married again. She adopted a number of children. So yeah, so she put out volumes of her poetry. And she became one of those people who she'd be writing in letters to the editor and getting into flame wars with some of the other, including Johann Stark. Remember him?
Yes.
Because Johann, who had his own shtick going in the Order of the Strict Observance.
Yes.
So she got into arguments with him.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like, she became a significant person of German letters of the time.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So we have a happy ending for Elisa.
We do.
Oh, I'm so glad. So she writes this letter and becomes famous, and I love how
she writes this book.
Oh, this book. It's a book. Oh,
it's a book about Cagliostro.
What? So it's like it's like a diss tract, but it's like a diss book against Cagliostro.
Right, yes, it's an expose.
Oh my gosh. And I love the cosmic justice of Catherine the Great taking notice of her and being like, get out of here, Cagliostro. We don't want any part of this. But Elisa's like, hey, I wrote this book. And Catherine the Great's like, yes, here's some property. There you go.
Right. Yes.
That's fantastic. So she has this long career and seemingly happy life after?
Yeah. Yeah. And Cagliostro's life after this is a little bumpy. Now, we last saw him in the Bastille.
Yeah.
But he gets acquitted in the case of the diamond necklace because there is no evidence that he was part of the plot.
Got it. Okay.
Madame de la Motte wounds up in prison. She gets branded with a V for voleuse. She manages to escape to England. I mean, her husband had already escaped, and he was the one selling the diamonds.
Okay.
And it's like the diamond necklace is never seen again. And of course, you have something as big and showy like that, the first thing you want to do is take it apart. So anyway, Cagliostro was acquitted. The cardinal was acquitted. But since Marie Antoinette was so invested in seeing the cardinal convicted, she insisted that he be exiled.
Ah, okay.
Well, he got exiled to one of his properties in southern France. So at least he wasn't seen in Paris anymore, which is good enough in the days before telecommunications. Cagliostro gets acquitted, but Marie Antoinette was so angry that she got the king to exile him too. So he left for England. So he went back to England. His Egyptian Freemasonry shtick wasn't making as big a splash as he had hoped. The thing to remember about starting one of these fancy lodges is the initiation fees go to you. So I should have mentioned that much earlier.
That's okay.
So, he went to England. He went back. He couldn't go back to France. He and Serafina couldn't go back to France. He wound up in Basel, Switzerland. And eventually, for reasons that are not clear, but in my graphic novel, I have it because Serafina wants to see her dying father. They go back to Rome, where, remember, it is illegal to be a Freemason.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested and imprisoned and dies in the prisons of the Inquisition in 1795.
Whoa!
And I think that's it.
Yeah, so we have a happy ending for Elisa, and then we have
not so happy ending for Cagliostro.
Exactly. That was an absolute roller coaster, EJ. Thank you so much for telling us that story, taking us through all of that information. It was so fascinating. And if people want to hear more from you or see your art or anything, now is the time to plug the things that you have to plug.
I have 2 websites.
Mm-hmm.
One where you can see my art. It's sort of a portfolio, but you can also buy original art and prints and such from it, is ejbarnes.com, EJBARNES.com. And the other one is my self-publishing arm, where you can buy my comics, including my historical comics about Dr. John Dee and Carolyn Herschel, the astronomer.
Oh, so cool.
And my latest one is The Dragon of Wantley, which is a poem from about 1685, which is sort of a crude, humorous poem. If you're into dragon farts.
Yes, definitely into dragon farts.
Okay, so go to drownedtownpress.com. That's one word. Drowned Town, DROWNEDTOWN, press, PRESS, one word.com.
Awesome. And I will put all of the links in the show notes so you can go directly to those websites.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And just for anybody who is watching on YouTube, EJ also painted these 2 pictures that are behind her of our one lovely character, one so not lovely character.
Our protagonist and antagonist.
Exactly. Yes. And they are the characters in her graphic novel.
My graphic novel, Spirits and Seekers, Cagliostro in Courland, which I am currently working on.
Yeah, so as soon as that comes out, we will let you know. So thank you again so much, EJ. Again, everything will be in the show notes below for you to check out all of EJ's wonderful art and wonderful comics. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course, and I will see you in the outro. Bye! Well, dear one, thank you so much for joining me in this last season break episode. Can you believe it? We made it. We made it through the season break, and now, in just a few more days, on July, what day is it? 12th, I believe. Yes, July 12th, I just confirmed. Season 9 will officially begin, and I am so excited about it. I wanted to say thank you again to EJ for coming on and telling us this absolutely ridiculous tale, and I'm really happy that we ended the season break on a happy ending with people getting their sweet, sweet come-uppins. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a rating or review, or both, or letting me know what you thought of this episode in particular using Spotify's question and answer thingy on the app. If you'd like to support the podcast in other ways, you can head on over to Patreon and see what delicious bonus history things we have over there. You can also support the podcast by heading to the merch store and getting yourself some official For the Love of History gear. If you look there, you may be able to see the brand new season 9 merch that I have not announced yet, but it is up there. So that's your little reward for staying until the end of the episode, is knowing before people who listen to the first episode of season 9. So there you go. Love you so much. All right. I will see you later. I love you so much. There will not be an episode next week. So double, triple, extra, quadruple, make sure that you go outside, you touch some grass, you do something that makes you happy, you drink your water, you stay hydrated. Okay, please stay hydrated. Iced coffee, I'm allowing it. I'm allowing iced coffee to be counted as hydration. As long as you're getting some liquid in your body, please drink something. And I will see you in season 9. Okay, talk to you later. Love you. Bye.